Welcome to the Mental Militia, uniting minds and freeing souls from the bonds of mental slavery and ruling class manipulation.
So again, where's that disconnect in the process of learning, the trivium process that we talk about in What on Earth is Happening, right? In the classical trivium, they called it grammar, logic, and rhetoric, right? So I'll just point to these here. Step 1, grammar. Step 2, logic. Step 3, rhetoric. That's the classical terms for the trivium. But what that really meant is grammar is gathering your knowledge. It's assembling information from eclectic varieties of sources so that you lay it out all on the table and you have all the information you need. Most people, they don't even have that. They're very low information individuals, low information density. Many of them are digging themselves out of a hole because they're operating from misinformation that's deliberately put out into the world from the enemy, the lying fake media. So once you actually have the data or the knowledge, step 2 is performing logical transforms upon that knowledge so that you can come to a correct understanding of what all that data that you gathered in step 1 means, right? That's the second part of the trivium. And then rhetoric is acting. It's not like speech, like rhetorical speech. Rhetoric is actually putting what you learned in the first 2 steps into action. What did you learn in knowledge, and what did all of it mean? Did you come to an accurate understanding of what all that data meant? And then wisdom is doing the right thing with it. So this was the esoteric, or if you will, the occult version of the trivium, was knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. And wisdom is action. Wisdom is not just knowledge. A lot of people think that it is. It is not. Wisdom means you did the right thing with what you came to understand, and you understood it because you learned it through knowledge. So you gathered the knowledge and you acquired it. You understand what all of it means, and then you did the right thing with it through action. Right action is what wisdom is. Now, in the computing analogy or way of looking at the trivium, you could call this the modern trivium, or the computing analogy of the trivium is its input, processing, and output. Again, this is where you gather all your data. That's like inputting programming and inputting data into a computer. Then you could do logical transforms with software upon all that data so that you can structure it and you can come to an accurate understanding of it. Then what are you going to do with it? You're going to output it. You could output it to the screen. You could output it to the printer. You could output it to another disk. You could output it to the internet. You could output it through a presentation or through a video or through a podcast. And this is the part where we're lacking. See, people who have come to understand what's going on, right? They've not converted it into wisdom. Only a small portion have, right? There's plenty of people who are gathering the data now because the data is starting to become more accessible. It's free flowing, right? So people can gather the knowledge. Some people, they perform a good, breakdown of logical fallacies and logical inconsistencies, and they come to an accurate understanding of what the data that they gathered means. But here's the disconnect. Again, whether you get the knowledge, that represents is the information availability of information, putting it all together, gathering it. That's your grammar step. It's like you can't learn how to read unless you learn the grammar, the words. Okay, then the understanding is what's going to inform your decision making. Do you understand, or are you confused? Okay, and if you don't process the data right, you're not going to come to that level of understanding, and your decision making is going to be skewed. But then what happens is that goes out into the world through human behavior. We gather the information, we either understand it or we don't, and then we're going to our decision-making processes that go on in our mind then inform our behavior. Then our behavior goes out into effect in the 3D reality that we live in, and that creates manifested reality. that we then must all live in. It's a shared human reality. Okay, whereby we're getting them the result or the consequence of what we've put into the world through step 3. Freedom or slavery is the result. Good or evil, order or chaos. All right, the disconnect is in this step, folks. If we're really looking at where the disconnect of whether we are really learning, really understanding, and then really acting. Most people get the first two and they stop at action, right? So this is all related to human consciousness. This step is thoughts, and this is the completion. Knowledge is like the graduation of our thoughts into intelligence. And if we don't use our thoughts to accurately come to that understanding of that information, we remain ignorant. So this is the achievement and this is the failure. This column that says positive is the achievement, and this is the failure where it says negative. So our consciousness is thought, emotion, and action. Those are the 3 ways that we manifest our consciousness in our reality. Thought matures to intelligence or remains ignorant. Then our emotions mature and express in a positive and truly correct way. We're going to come to a level of true care. And again, this doesn't mean like, oh, do you care about what we're eating tonight, or you care about what's on TV? No, this means care in a wider sense, care for truth, care for freedom, care for justice, care for what is right. So that's the positive outcome of emotion, and the negative is apathy. People don't care about what's going on. And then finally, are we going to put what we've learned and what we've come to actually say we care about, what we have positive intent for changing? Are we going to actually use our bodily actions to do something about it? And if we do mature that aspect of our consciousness, we'll receive the positive result of development of willpower, of courage, of persistence, of wisdom, of acting rightly in the world. And if we don't do that, we don't mature this aspect of our consciousness and refine it and develop it, we stay in a state of inaction, of laziness, of cowardice, of not putting what we have come to learn into practice in the world. Okay, so where is the disconnect in the process, in the whole process of people who have heard what I've said in What on Earth is Happening, who understand the importance of it, or say that they understand the importance of it? Most of them haven't done the action by putting it out into the world for others because they don't know how. See, then it starts over again. They don't have the knowledge of how to put the information back out into the world. That's the rhetoric stage of the trivium, and that's the disconnect. The disconnect is at this top level right here, this box. So in general, some people have become knowledgeable, some people have gained understanding, but they are not yet wise. See, that's the difference. Because being wise does not mean that you know or you understand. Being wise means that you do. You take action, and you take right action. And that's the disconnect that's holding us back, is that action still isn't there because the knowledge of how to take that action, unfortunately, isn't present. And this is my goal, to change that dynamic. My goal is not to have you guys follow me blindly. I don't care about that. I never did since day one. I think people who are like creepy cult clingers, like cling to people like they're cult members, gross me out, and I don't want them near me. I want them away from me. I'm not doing this for personal relationships with people. I honestly, I'm not saying there's not a place for that in my life. That's not what this is about, obviously. This is about me trying to get you guys to understand computing to a level where you can take the right action, exercise that rhetoric stage of the trivium, and do the right thing with the information you guys already know. Just knowing natural law, just knowing objective morality, just knowing government is slavery, that's the beginning. That's step one. You got to put that back out into the world. So the goal of this seminar is to make teachers. I'm not interested in having students hang on my words. I want you guys to go, I learned how to do this from Mark. Now I'm doing it on my own and without any reins, without, anybody steering me. Again, the goal is you to become autodidactic learners yourself. And then you're going to be in a position to teach others once you learn so much and you're doing it. So this quote, I believe, is from Neil Donald Walsh. It could be another teacher said it before that, another spiritual teacher. But the quote is, a true teacher is not the one with the most students, but the one who creates the most teachers. And that's what my personal goal as the instructor for this seminar is. I want to create other teachers.